Hi, and thanks for logging on to the Daily Dvar. And here's a brand new halacha for you. And it's for Monday, the 28th day of February. Here we go. Today we're going to do the brachas on cholent. What bracha to make on cholent? If you're eating it in a meal where you made a hamotzi at the beginning of the meal, like a typical Shabbos meal, then it's not much of a question at all. The hamotzi at the beginning of the meal covers for most of all the brachas of the entire meal. So no bracha on the cholent. But let's say you're eating it as a snack late on a Friday night after the meal or leftovers on Sunday evening. So it depends on the constitution of the cholent. If the cholent has a lot of barley in it, then and barley's mixed throughout the cholent, then generally the bracha on that cholent will be bori mina mizonos because the barley is the mizonos in the cholent. It's the overriding bracha, and everything else is kind of like a single entity with a strong amount of mizonos in it, and that gets a mizonos as the main bracha, as often happens with some cereals that have lots of wheat in them or barley type of things. So a cholent with a lot of barley in it is bori mine mizonos. Let's say there's no barley in the cholent, and it just consists of beans, potatoes, tiny pieces of meat, and stuff like that. Then that's also kind of simple. It would be a bori pri hadama on that kind of cholent because mostly the predominant thing in the mixture is adama. The pieces of meat are tiny, so they don't get their own separate bracha, and therefore adama would be the bracha covering the beans, the potatoes, and the little pieces of meat, if they are little, would be non-consequential and they would be kind of nullified in the mixture of Adama. And Boru Pri Adama would be the proper bracha on that kind of cholent. Now, let's say you have that kind of cholent, like we just mentioned, the Boru Pri Adama, because its main ingredients are beans, potatoes, and only tiny pieces of meat, but there's some kishka in the cholent. Kishka is made up of flour and oil and whatever other good stuff they put in it. Kishka is definitely a mazonos most often because it has a lot of flour in it, and kishka would get its own bori mine mazonos. But it's not often that a cholent has enough kishka in it mixed throughout enough of the cholent such that that becomes the overriding bracha. Typically, cholent is the prize that's here and there inside of the cholent. So if that would happen, and that's the typical situation, you would make a bori pri hadama on the Adama parts of the cholent, and you would make a bori mine mazonos on the kishka find when you find it, and one bracha would not cover the other because they're not a single entity. There's generally a cholent made out of Adama mostly in front of you, and some finds of mazonos here and there. So one bracha of Adama to cover the Adama of the cholent, one bracha of mazonos to cover the kishka, and then if you had enough kishka, you would also make an al hamichya at the end of eating that cholent. Thanks for logging on, and log on again tomorrow for more. Bye bye.